What are you drinking? What's that? What do you got?
So this was a freezer door old fashioned.
Ooh.
And I added some grapefruit soda to it because I was still working on the ratios. It's actually really good because I made it with a hibiscus cardamom syrup.
Ladies and gentlemen, to all our listeners, hibiscus isn't real. Don't let this guy lie to you.
What are you talking about?
Hibiscus gate.
I know where you live.
Also, your camera is like higher than mine, so it just looks like you're the taller one. There's like a whole bunch of random letters seated all over the place because I was too stupid to close my phone while petting my dog.
Yes. All right, let's get started. Have you ever thought to yourself, Star Wars needs more zombies? Because we have a lot. Actually, on multiple occasions. We even did an episode on Darth Scabrous, who literally invents a zombie virus. Check it out in episode 94. We also did an episode where we created our own zombie RPG. See episode 90. Anyways, we have more undead shenanigans. Or at least something very close to this. Enter Darth Sion.
Because what says Christmas more than an undead freak? Welcome to Talk About Tatooine. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we are twin brothers here to bring you what's new in nerddom and give colorful commentary on our favorite subjects. Welcome to our cantina. Grab a drink and settle in as we set course for realities beyond our own.
Welcome everyone to episode 97. Today's recording date is December 10th, and this episode will be released on Monday, December 16th. Today, we are going to be discussing a very interesting Sith Lord, Darth Sion. First, let's begin with our starter questions. Make sure you guys stick around towards the end. We have some nerddom news for you. Andrew, our opening question today. What's one Christmas or seasonal thing that you love, but it's really embarrassing?
It has to be the Polar Express. It is an extremely poorly animated movie where they got basically one famous person to do all the voices. The super annoying kid isn't even credited with having a name. He's just known as the know-it-all kid, and he's awful.
Wait, seriously?
Like, he does not have a name. Like, we checked on the IMDb because I just came from watching it, and
gross.
I know. I as soon as I said it, I was like, oh no, and then I paused a little bit, and I went, oh no! I just
finished watching it.
Son of a bitch, I didn't want to say that either.
I just watched it.
We watched most of it. I just watched it. Past tense is hard. Words are hard. I don't know how to do words good because I'm not the president.
Making everything into a season... It's a season joke. Making everything into a semen joke is really easy, too. Thank you, English language.
Welcome to the Navy. So I told my wife, I was like, yeah, I really like this movie. She doesn't. She was like, you know what? I can't find something that I really want. Let's just watch your movie. And I was like, oh, okay. And I basically roasted the movie for 120 minutes.
Nice.
It's not good, but I like it.
No, it's not.
Another thing about that movie, I'm so sorry. Alvin Silvestri does the music for it. The main theme is 100% the same main theme as Elf, who he also does. He just copied and pasted it. He was like, you know what? That movie was garbage, but I worked hard on that theme and it was good, dang it.
I'll have to listen through that next time I watch it.
It does the da, 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 da. You know, that one.
I do know. I would say for my Christmas embarrassing thing, it's my coffee and my drink orders. 100%. I order a lot of sweet drinks because I love eggnog lattes, pumpkin spice things.
Oh my gosh, dude. Preach.
I really like the taste of Rumplemans and hot chocolate. I mean...
What is Rumplemans?
It's basically high-proof peppermint schnapps.
Nice. Oh, look, it's Tummy.
Hi, Tumnus. I missed you.
He's like, Dad is going to give me some hot chocolate. And that is why I am down here. Can you see him?
No, not right now, but I will when he's in full screen when I edit.
Hi, buddy. Hi, sweetness.
Right now, you're technically only taking up a quarter of my screen because I've got my notes on one half
same.
And us on the other, which you take up also a half of that.
Am I on the left or the right side?
You're on the right.
Okay. We have, I think, identical layouts.
Very nice.
Twins are freaks.
But anyways, that's mine is I love Christmassy and like fall themed drinks. And when it comes to alcohol and or coffee, I am here for it.
I'm so with you on that one. They're like, hey, can I get this white chocolate mocha with peppermint and a little bit of ground up Rudolph horn in it? Please. Ooh, speaking of ground up horn, there is a scene in Gladiator 2 where they are scraping off dust from a dead rhino horn and consuming it at a party for Caesar's, because it's twin Caesars, and they're such creeps. I said out loud in the theater, oh my gosh, twins are so weird. It's terrifying.
Interesting.
Yeah, go see Gladiator. It was really good.
All right.
Let's talk about Star Wars. That's what we're here for. We are talking about Darth Sion. Just to catch everyone up, we've been having a great time talking about Star Wars lore. This is probably the most consecutive episodes we've done so far on a single lore topic, that being the Sith Lords. So far, we've talked about Darth Scabrous, Darth Malak, and Darth Revan.
Oh, and Darth Plagueis. I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah, we did Plagueis. We have also mentioned Darth Vitiate. He's like the Sith Emperor that's like apparently was in the shadows for all of KOTOR, whatever. He will poke his head in so many times throughout this series. But please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Seriously, it helps out a ton. If you just watch our videos, join in on the fun.
Now we're getting into Darth Sion.
Let's
Darth
go.
Sion has quite a history with the Sith. He originally fought with Exar Kun's Sith Empire, so he's old. He's basically a boomer.
Oh, he's ancient. Okay, boomer.
He also watched that empire crumble after the Republic won that conflict and even fought in Revan and Malak's empire as well, so he existed the entire time. When that regime toppled as well, it was all he could do but just watch from Korriban as the empire tore itself apart after the destruction of the Starforge.
So if a Marvel character was a Sith Lord, Wolverine would be Darth Sion.
That's not far off.
It's not far off. All right, so he is known as the Lord of Pain. Darth Sion, not Wolverine. Susceptible to pain like anyone else, Sion became accustomed to experiencing pain. Pretty sure there's a word for that.
Jane!
Because he was also a dark side user, Sion was able to use his pain for his own benefit. You'll notice that he is surprisingly long-lived for a human, several hundred, if not 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Sion uses his hate to sustain his body. For most Sith, it actually like decays them. That's why we see advanced aging through Darth Sidious when he like zapped his own face. That's like the dark side doing its thing. Under Exar Kun, Sion was actually struck down multiple times, and he just got back up. What is that Ice Age meme? It's like, yes, I've died, but then I lived.
Were you killed? Sadly, yes. But I lived.
He got back up, using his pain to sustain his body and to continue fighting. He came to experience a form of immortality through sheer anger. His hate would sustain him. I feel like he would be a great millennial. His hate would sustain him, always rising when felled. He would take the pain of his injuries, hold on to them, use them, master them, and rise over and over again.
You could say he was very pro-pain.
And propane accessories.
Had to shoehorn a King of the Hill joke in there somehow.
Turned down for what?
Anyways, Darth Sion was not only the Lord of Pain, but he was specifically a Sith Marauder. Sith Marauders are fighters. This is basically why he endured so many injuries, is because Marauders have a fighting style that is basically akin to min-maxing a character. They're like, I'm not even going to bother blocking. I'm just going to attack so ferociously that all of my defense comes from my offense. They are... Sith Marauders, are adept at combat and facing their enemies head on. This is also kind of in comparison to other disciplines in Sith education. Like there's also like the Sith Assassin, the Sith Lord, Warriors, Inquisitors, and some other specializations inside the games of KOTOR and KOTOR 2 specifically. These other specifications that appear in canon are the Sith Juggernaut and Sith Inquisitor. So we're going to talk about some of those later in the episode. Just hold on, guys. Marauders are the counterpart archetyped to the Jedi Weapons Master. They prefer fighting with 2 lightsabers and rely on their fury, anger, and rage to win their fights. Time to make a Warhammer reference. If you are a fan of Darth Sion, you would be a fan of the World Eaters or Khorne Berserkers. They ran in, axes held up high, and just wanted to butcher some things. Also, fun fact, if you've seen the short for Secret Level that came out just the other day, take that. And that level of aggression is kind of how Sion prefers to fight. Same sort of flavor.
Dude, you guys, best 18 minutes of my life. So good. So good.
I haven't watched the full thing yet.
I think it's so funny that Darth Sion doesn't care about blocking. He's like, why would I block? Liberal. I'm not a snowflake. I just take that lightsaber to the face. You don't need two eyes, liberal. I get right back up. Make the Sith Empire great again. Okay, so Marauders did not necessarily have the longest lifespans, except for Sion. He's clearly the exception. They craved violence, awesome, and they would often put them up against strong Jedi adversaries. Ah, yes, a worthy challenger. Sion was known for seeking out death when he fought. He would go into battle with no intention of leaving alive. That's so funny. They're like, one of us is gonna die, and I don't care if it's me. They're like, what? What did he say?
Well, then eventually he gets chopped down, and they're like, oh, I totally got him. And he just stands back up, and he's like, is that all you got? I didn't hear no bell.
So he has to be like we said, very similar to Wolverine, but also like Deadpool. So in the Marvel comics, Deadpool gets like actually cut up into pieces to the point where in one of the movies he gets beheaded and he just grows his body back. Is that what Darth Sion does?
Not exactly. I'm assuming, like, if you were to, like, play out the narrative, that's what happens. But, like, in the video game, he just, like, falls down. Because,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
it's like, it's an old video game. They're not going to show dismemberment.
Yeah.
Kids are playing this, which I say that, and I actually saw a video of, it's like, have you seen like, those memes where it's like the Clone Wars is for kids? And it's like,
and then it's war crimes.
Yeah, it's straight up war crimes. Where there's the episode where these clone troopers try to turn on Ahsoka, and she jumps up and beheads 4 of them at the same time. And it's not like Jango Fett behead, where you kind of see the head fly off and it like lands in a different scene. It's like you see their heads leave their bodies.
Dave Filoni is like, hey man, as long as I don't use the F word, I can show this. Fear Feck, is that what they're saying?
There ain't no F words and there ain't no titties. Everything is fair game.
We can do whatever we want.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, remember the very first episode of The Mandalorian when that guy got cut in half by the door?
Oh yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, you're like, oh no.
Is he okay?
I don't think space OSHA is a thing. Okay, so Sion, let's see, sought out death. He would go into battle with no intention of leaving alive. This obviously wasn't the case as his pain sustained him. He was like, oh, yes, you've cut off my arm. That's going to be a +5 strength bonus for me. Oh, look, now I'm rolling with advantage.
In my brain, he just like sticks his arm back into place. If he's fighting Jedi, he's getting dismembered all the time, right?
Yeah.
He's got to be. Like, again, I very much think it's like a Deadpool thing where he's just ugly and scarred. He really is displayed that way in the game, too. And he just, like, gets back up. He's like, whatever. So I think Deadpool is a very accurate representation of Darth Sion.
So, okay, follow-on question, and I'm sure someone has asked this about Deadpool. If you cut Darth Sion right down the middle, which part of him would regenerate? I would think both, right? Could you clone Darth Sion by just cutting him in half right down the middle?
Well, we can answer that question already. When Deadpool gets dismembered and cuts into pieces, does he regrow from the head or the rest of his body? Because the regeneration process would tell us that whatever part the head is attached to, I mean, yeah, I guess if you're going straight down the middle, but I would say only...
Straight down the middle.
I would say only one part of him would regenerate, and it's just a dice roll at that point. His regeneration power does not allow cloning, as much as the math would suggest it does.
I think only science can test this.
Now we got to cut somebody in half. Great.
Now, not somebody.
We don't have the R&D budget for this.
Okay, so where was I? These classes of Sith show up in KOTOR as pickable specializations for the player character if you choose the cool side of the Force. I mean, the dark side of the Force. I mean, come on. That is how you made the game easier to win, is just you play dark side. It's like, oh, I have... What do you mean I can't use Force lightning to solve all my problems, Mom?
Low in health, just drain life. Duh.
Yeah, just drain life. I take theirs and I push it over there. As these classes of Sith entered into the Star Wars lore, different authors expanded on what that actually meant. In the novel, Darth Bane. What is wrong with me? Path of Destruction, written by Drew Karpyshyn, he mentions that each of the different Sith specialties have their own academies, respectively. The Sith Assassins were trained in the darkness on Umbara, one of the best Clone Wars arcs ever. And then the Sith Marauders were trained on Honoghr. And the Sith Acolytes were trained on Korriban. The Acolytes would become then the Sith Lords. And that was also very much in the Brotherhood of Darkness era, right before the Rule of Two.
I definitely wrote down one of my notes incorrectly because I think I wrote down that there was also a Sith Academy for Sith Assassins on Malachor 5, I think.
I think there was. I think that's true.
Oh, cool. So I'm not technically wrong. That's good.
Well, because Odacer Faustin, the Sith Academy on Odacer Faustin, in the Scabrous episode, I think they were training Sith Acolytes to become Sith Lords. I don't think they had a specialty there.
Nice.
Because they were just kind of trying to kill each other. Well, other than the fact that Scabrous was like, I need lab rats. So
yeah, 100%. I think one really awesome engagement that the Sith Marauders get some good screen time is the sacking of Coruscant.
Oh.
Andrew, you actually recommended this to me because I totally forgot about this and I had to look it up.
I helped.
This occurred during the Great Galactic War, also known as the Republic-Sith War, that took place over 28 years. Essentially, under the pretense of a treaty, a Mandalorian named Shae Vizsla, Vizsla family causing problems again, deactivates the defense grid around Coruscant, and Darth Malgus enters in with a ton of Marauders and begins to go hog wild on the Jedi.
It's so good.
This turns out to be a huge defeat for the Republic. Malgus and his crew of 50 Marauders. He took 50 Marauders into the temple, and they just started killing. Imagine what Anakin and some clone troopers could do. Take that, make it worse. While they are doing this, the Sith forces enter orbit. They're bombing the out of everything. And in the end, the Sith are actually able to amass a huge death tally. The temple completely reduced to rubble. They killed 6 members of the Jedi Council, and the Supreme Chancellor gets assassinated. They're actually able to quarantine the planet, or essentially like annex the planet, and the Sith basically have control of Coruscant at this point. The ability of Malgus and his Marauders to halt and defeat the Jedi at the temple seals the fate of Coruscant at this time. Obviously, Coruscant does go back over to the control of the Republic. I'm not actually sure when, because I didn't read that far.
It's seriously like a week after they sack the temple. So Malgus, when he sacks the temple, he has gone completely off the rails with the actual Sith Empire hierarchy. He's like, I'm going to just take soldiers who are loyal to me. I'm going to deal a death blow to the Jedi and the Republic. I'm going to do what I want. And he does that. He's extremely successful. And then as soon as he does that, the rest of the Sith Empire, including Malgus's superiors, are like, hey, this would be a great time to negotiate for some stuff that we want. Basically, they held Coruscant captive, and Malgus is like, dude, my whole plan was to destroy this planet. And they're like, actually, we're going to barter with it. And that's actually when Malgus splits from the Sith Empire and starts doing his own thing, because he's like, you guys are weak. We had the chance to kill everyone. And they're like, why would we kill them when we could get rich?
Yeah, there's a money-making opportunity here.
I will also say that in the worlds of the United States and Star Wars, as a Venn diagram, there's a pretty large overlap where the center circle is just violence against children. Anyway, dark side specialization.
Son.
Ooh, I couldn't not say it. I'll let you decide if that one stays or not, but I was pretty happy about that.
It's gonna stay, folks.
He says with like one eye twitching. All right, so Sith Assassins. This is another type of specialty. These are the spooks. These are the Sith spooks. Most of our notes here are taken mostly from the Legends tab, because not that many of the Sith Assassins in canon, they're not really that cool. There's like, what? I think we said there was 3.
3 of them, yep.
So thanks, Disney. Thanks, Obama. Assassins were usually recognized by their cloaked appearance and the use of a double-bladed lightsaber. Sometimes they also used a special type of stun stick, but there are conflicting accounts of that. In the Darth who was it? Darth Bane timeline, they use stun sticks. But for most of the actual Sith Empire, they'd use double-bladed lightsabers. Sith assassins tend to hunt in the shadows, as their name would suggest. They are using the stealth and sneak stats, where the Marauders tend to run in dual lightsabers awaven. These Sith sneaky boys train at the Treyas Academy on Malachor 5. We mention this because at this time there's actually several Sith academies for the assassins, and they tend to produce warriors of similar types. Kreia has this to say about the assassins.
It is a different war these Sith wage, a thing of silence and shadow. They strike from the darkness, hiding from the face of the galaxy until all Jedi are exterminated. After all the Jedi are gone, then the galaxy is theirs, no matter whether the Republic or the Sith rules. It is the dark side that shall reign, unchecked. I believe them to be the result of special teachings. Those Sith assassins can sense their prey through the Force. It is like a hunger. They feed and grow stronger when they are near Force sensitives. The stronger their prey is in the Force, the deadlier they become. Kreia on the assassins of the Sith Triumvirate.
Playing through KOTOR 2, you hated Treya, right? Like, she totally sucked.
She was the worst.
Yeah, she sucks. She totally sucks.
Whether or not it was Treya or in the form of Kreia, it was just, she was annoying.
She's like, yes, there was also the legend of Darth Treya. And we're like, that's you. That's definitely you. And she's like, it's not me. Actually, it is. Like,
you're like, you look exactly the same. So,
like when Linda does dinner theater and she's like, I'm not the killer, except that I am. Okay, the primary goal of the assassins was to kill Jedi. Pretty obvious. Yeah, we like that. Sion actually leads many of these assassins on missions to eliminate a substantial number of Jedi. He used the tools at his disposal. Not only were these Sith adept at elimination, upon taking down a target, they would actually sometimes turn the Jedi to the dark side by the use of temptation and power or torture. This actually happens to Bastila. She is basically tortured into the dark side. Malik is like, dude, see this lightning that I'm shooting into your body? Wouldn't it be so cool if you could do that too?
Yep.
This actually resulted in a number of assassins growing over time as the Jedi numbers dwindled. Another specialization we want to discuss is the Sith Lord classification. So this is a little weird because that's a title, but it's also a class of Sith that you can pick in KOTOR 2, which is kind of where a lot of this lore is coming from. This title is misleading in the way that it means many different things and signifies multiple levels of station over time. In the game Knights of the Old Republic, the Sith Lord designation is meant to mirror that of a Jedi Master. It essentially just allows the player to fully spec into the dark side of the Force. However, in game, this is considered suboptimal as there are better ways to make your character for combat effectiveness, according to GameRant.com.
The title itself mostly signifies prestige of those who have learned enough about the dark side of the Force to set themselves apart from the rest of the pack. Another quote from Kreia, perhaps your way lies with the Sith, and the heart of their darkness, to recognize what strength is and to bring that strength to those that you follow and those that defy you, the way of the Sith Lord. Interestingly enough, a Sith Lord in Revan's Empire was actually a very high-ranking title, whereas under Vitiate, it was a mid-level title under that of Darth. So if you were a Sith Lord, you did not gain the title of Darth. You did gain the title of just Sith Lord. So it was like you were still working your way up in Darth Vitiate's empire if you were just a Sith Lord. However, that role would ultimately evolve into the sole title as one of the rule of two, either master or apprentice.
And I think most people who grow up with either a little or even moderate understanding of Star Wars lore, a Sith Lord and someone who uses the Darth title is the same thing. It's the same thing.
They are synonymous, yes.
So it's a little annoying to me in the lore that they're like, actually, it's different. It's like, dude, why did you make it more complicated?
They could have just called it Sith Masters.
Yeah, they're like, we'll call them Sith Masters and also Sith Lords and also, Darth. It's like, guys, you're making it more complicated than it needs to be, kind of for no reason. We're also Warhammer fans, so we're pretty accustomed to intricate lore. Like, you don't need to make it that complicated.
Pretty much.
Also, I'm really sorry. I don't know why my camera is this foggy. Ooh, it was like fine there for just a second. Oh, because it's not focusing correctly. I don't know how to fix that. In Legends, the Inquisitors, we're talking about Sith Inquisitors now, operated in a much different way than the ones we see in the Empire. So, not the guys with the spinning lightsabers, like we see in Star Wars Rebels and Kenobi. In Legends, a Sith Inquisitor was one that focused primarily on studying the secrets of the Force, whereas a Marauder trains for combat, the Inquisitor trains for knowledge and use of the Force. Super good with lightning. Even though the Inquisitors were not the best in lightsaber combat, they were still effective on the battlefield. They were able to channel massive amounts of dark side energy and bring it to bear as Force lightning, the best Force power. Don't at me. If not that, they could drain the life of their enemies to pass along to themselves or their allies. Interestingly enough, the Inquisitors could spec into assassins or even Sith sorcerers as well.
Keep in mind, guys, there's a lot of overlay between these specializations. Again, we just wanted to make sure we're going over all of these because Darth Sion classifies himself as a Marauder, and you're like, hey, what's a Marauder? Why are they talking about these things? That's why, essentially. Another fun dark side specialization we have is the Sith Juggernaut. Oh lord, he coming. The Juggernauts were just what you think they are. Big old tanks that can take a lot of damage. Known for wielding a single lightsaber in combat along with heavy armor, these chunkers were renowned fighters and known for their endurance on the battlefield. Seriously, it is known for the Juggernauts to be immensely muscular, like just absolutely jacked stack meat missiles of men, so that they could fight easily while wearing heavy armor. The Sith Juggernaut is seen in The Old Republic, the game, the MMORPG, and is an advanced class of the Sith Warrior build and is a counterpart to the Jedi Guardian.
And now, an ad break.
Happy holiday, folks. Today's episode is brought to you by our Etsy shop. Looking for great stocking stuffer this season? Our shop has a variety of stickers and mugs that will bring an extra dose of cheer to the nerdy folk in your life. If you're listening to this podcast, you guys have access to a promo code that is Tatooine10 at checkout for an additional 10% off. That is TATOOINE10 for 10% off. Now, back to the show. All right, so now we're getting into Sith sorcerers. We actually don't have too much written for Sith sorcerers, but these are basically your run-of-the-mill magic users. I want to give you guys a quote from Freedom Nad as well. Weakling, you will never reach your potential if you falter at the slightest obstacle. Beyond that wall lies your destiny. Beyond that wall lies the full power of the dark side. If you do not have the strength to reach it, then you do not deserve to become a Sith sorcerer. And this is the spirit of Freedom Nad. There's a lot of Sith sorcery we've talked about in previous episodes. We talk about Plagueis using it. We talk about Scabrous using it. So Sith sorcerers are basically people who are experimenting with magic and science and the Force, basically trying to combine those all together. Some of them are actually known for being really, really good fighters. And some of them, I actually even believe Exar Kun is a Sith sorcerer as well. So there's a lot of different sorcery that goes on throughout the Star Wars universe. Basically, it's your classic, like, witch stirring the pot kind of vibe. And basically, they're using magic on everything. These guys were trying to figure out how to immortalize themselves when they should have just taken a note from Darth Sion. And they're just like, you just have to be really angry all the time. And you'll never have to use Sith sorcery. So that's essentially where we got there.
Why use spell when lightsaber do good? Now let's actually get back to Darth Sion, our resident zombie boy. He just likes dying. Through the campaigns of Exar Kun, Revan, and Malak, Sion desired vengeance against the Jedi. He saw the Sith crumble multiple times against the Jedi and the Republic, and just held on to a grudge. Sion would eventually ally himself with Nihilus and Traya, the other Sith Lords. We will go into further detail later. Nihilus and Sion would both study under Traya on Malachor 5. However, Sion was a bruiser, a fighter, kind of like what we talked about. Likes pain, kind of gets him off a little bit. He quickly became tired of Traya's instruction and teamed up with Nihilus to remove her from power. Classic Sith! Sion, being the best fighter of the three, was able to attack Traya and beat down her defenses. She's got the floating lightsabers, so that's actually kind of a big deal. This allowed Nihilus to strip her of her connection to the Force. Hilarious. Once free of her instructions, Sion was able to take more ambitious steps towards fighting the Jedi.
This is where we enter the path of eradication. Sion, with his lust for battle, would use his Sith assassins to go on an actual Jedi killing spree. Now imagine this. A Sith comes to kill you, you strike him down, over and over and over and over again, only to be eventually overwhelmed by the unkillable Berserker. He was so successful with this strategy that he had actually eliminated a majority of the Jedi from the galaxy.
After Nihilus attacked the Jedi Conclave on Qatar, spelled Katarr, not Qatar, the Order officially disbanded and went into hiding. Sion learns of a remaining Jedi named Mitra Surik, also known as the playable character from Knights of the Old Republic 2, and starts to take steps to take her down. After setting a trap for her, Sion and Mitra battle it out. Mitra actually kills Sion multiple times before, because this dude like has no defense. And Mitra Surik was also a really strong Jedi. She was Jedi Revan's #1 lieutenant. She actually gets through to him and gets him to let go of his hate, and he actually basically lets go of this mortal coil. She's like, "Hey, what if you just like decided to let go of your anger?" And he's like, "Bleh."
How do you stay so calm, big bag of weed? Anyways. Sion very much reminds me of the Hulk. He's just like, well, how do you control it? I'm always angry. And he's literally always angry. Now, the interesting part here is like the Jedi get almost, this is like one of the, like in the last 1,000 years, this is one of the biggest defeats the Republic has. Not only did like Malgus sack the temple and basically ruin the Republic capital. Okay. Sion basically does it again. The Order in effect has no structure to it after Sion is done with it. He kills so many of them that even though Nihilus was the one that attacked the Jedi conclave on Qatar, which was like the final like death blow, but like Sion did all the work beforehand. He killed so many Jedi that Nihilus basically came in and just like finished the job.
What are we going to do without all these Jedi, Bob? Think of the investors, the bureaucracy.
That was good. That was good.
I'm killing it tonight. Even though I did say sack in the middle of your thing. Science hole, Gene. All right, let's. We are the Silly Goose Brigade because we are very silly. All right, let's go to the HoloNet news, guys. Thank you so much for keeping around for this long already. We got another. At this point, Secret Level has launched. It's the first 8 episodes. I skipped right ahead to the Warhammer episode, and it was so good. Imagine the Darth Vader hallway scene from Rogue One, but it's 18 minutes long.
Oh my gosh.
It had a lot of feels that were very reminiscent of the Astartes fan film that was on YouTube. And if I am remembering correctly, Games Workshop actually hired that guy. So I'm wondering if he worked on Secret Level, because there's not a lot of dialogue, but the story is still really well told because it's all through their actions.
Yep.
I can't really say too much because at this point I think it would be spoilers, and
I haven't watched it yet, so
really give people a spoiler word. Oh, I won't say anything then. Yep, I'm done. Okay, so also we have a holiday streaming schedule. We are doing our best. Catch us on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Also, real quick, Henry Cavill definitely confirmed that his show is happening. It was in the rumor mill for a really long time that he was going to help out, and then basically nothing happened for like a year. And a lot of people were speculating online and frankly just lying and spreading rumors that they're like, oh, we heard that the show was canceled. It's like, but then they didn't have a source for anything.
They were like me. I'm the source.
Guys, if you hear something, yeah, they're like, the source is me. I made it up. It's like, guys, if you hear something on the internet, ask for a source. I actually saw on this news on Threads, and like, it basically was this guy who just posted like, oh my gosh, the Henry Cavill show is happening. And I posted on his thread, and I commented, I was like, oh, I'm really excited about this, but do you have a source? Like, I want to join in the hype, but I also want to temper my expectations, you know? And he basically just took a screenshot of Henry Cavill's Facebook post saying, this is happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. I'm so excited.
It's fantastic.
We will be taking bets on who the featured faction will be. I mean, the odds are high that it's going to be Custodes or Imperial Guard, right?
Yeah.
Dude, if it's a Tau show, I am going to poop my pants in a bad way. In anger.
That'd be so cool.
Anger poop.
I will poop my pants in joy. So here we go.
Anger poop. No joy poops, anger poops.
All right, moving on. We also got an update for Space Marine 2. The Obelisk update is live. Comes with a new replayable operation, Obelisk. It also introduces Zangor Enlightened as a new enemy on the Disc of Tzeentch. New skins are also available, mostly focusing on the Dark Angels. This update seems to be like another big win for the game. Source mostly from ScreenRant.com. We also got some new detachments since last time we recorded, which are the Chaos Knights and Grey Knights. Grey Knights are going to be the Warpbane task force, mostly focusing on the Hollowed Ground keyword for the army to get bonuses in combat based on battlefield position.
Take his obelisk and twist it!
Twist his off!
Take his obelisk and twist it! That is my contribution to that bit of HoloNet news.
Guys,
twist it!
Thank you so much for sticking around and watching. Huge thank to our patrons. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. If you guys can, support us on Patreon, guys. We do a lot of fun stuff. Since last time we recorded, we did have our Patreon game night where we played some Rocket League. And Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that not the funnest time?
I thought you were really going to roast me because I did very poorly.
Brother, no.
First off, I had so much fun. I almost lost my voice. I was like hysterically yelling and laughing so much because like we don't really play Rocket League all that seriously. A lot of times it would be me sitting in goal or whenever I was in goal and it would be like, oh gosh, too much pressure. And because my username is Panic for a reason, I would just absolutely choke.
You did choke a few times, but that's okay.
And like calling Kobe when you're about to miss a goal, you're like, I'm not going to get this. I would try my best and just couldn't do it. I just, like that was me trying to like do an aerial and hit the ball. I'm like, oh no.
It was quite a fun time, guys. But seriously, stuff like that is like why we have our Patreon, so we can do fun stuff, support the podcast, all of that. For just $5 a month, you can support us here at Talk About Tatooine, so we can do more awesome things like giveaways, gaming events, and higher quality content. It is due to your support that we can make this happen. However, we are a long way from where we need to be, so please consider supporting us on Patreon. If you cannot do that, watch our videos. One of the best ways to support us is to like and subscribe the video over on YouTube and watch our playlist. It does not cost you anything, and those watch hours do go a long way into helping us get monetized over on YouTube. Thank you everyone for watching. Every single one of you is amazing. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so this video can find its way to as many as possible. And until next time, may the Force be with you.